We've got 6 great teams competing for the first ever, right? Throne champion of ODI, Pitch Perfect. These are 6 totally unique, original ideas from students very much like yourself, from 6 different schools. And we're very fortunate to have a great all-star judging panel, and as well, our host and chief judge of the afternoon is a longtime friend of myself, actually one of the longest held friends I've had in the business, and a longtime friend of ODI on this event. He's been a supporter and a sponsor and a mentor and an advisor since day one. He was general manager of digital video channels at Scripps Networks. He is one of the co-creators of the Food Network brand and the Cooking Channel, and a number of other great brands and programs that you love. We're very fortunate to have him, so let me bring to the stage Michael Smith.
Okay, this is a really fun part. This is the Pitch Perfect competition, which we invited, and I think, how many of you guys are aware of the Pitch Perfect, or knew that what it was going on, or entered, or anything like that? Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of the background. We asked students to submit ideas, new business ideas, and to pitch them to us. And so we had a first round where we received a whole bunch of them, and we whittled them down to 6 really fantastic ideas. And the significance of this pitch thing is, I think, is all you guys will find throughout your careers in the media business is that pitching is a really essential part of the business. You're going to be pitching new television show ideas, new marketing plan ideas, new business ideas, ad strategy, campaign ideas. So the ability to sell ideas and to sell yourself is going to be really important throughout your career. So this is not just a great learning exercise for today, but I think for forever for these people. So we have 6 groups that are going to come up. They're going to pitch an idea. We have 2 fantastic judges. I'm the 3rd one. And who are going to be evaluating these ideas based on the creativity of the idea, the feasibility, the marketing, the budget. You'll hear it as they pitch the ideas. And the judges that will be joining me today are really great, well qualified to do this. Craig Parks, who is, where are they? There they are. I'm going to call Craig up. Craig has been involved in several successful media startups at Participant Media, at Comcast, and also has spent years running IFC. He's worked at MTV. And then Rebecca Pauletti is also here. Rebecca is probably exemplifies startup the best. She started up her own company, a very successful consulting company that consults new digital media companies, which she's been running for the past 6 years. And she has been involved in several other startups. She ran all of video for Yahoo across the world. And so we will be listening to the presentations, and let's get kicked off with the first one. Now, the first team is a team called Swap Up, and so Team Swap Up, come to the stage.
Hi guys, we're really excited to start this off. Too far. Okay. I want to introduce myself first. I'm Kathy, and this is Emily. We have a 3rd member of our team, Tracy, and we are Swap Up. So what do? We're a transparent online marketplace for fine art, and we are recreating how you experience art. So let's talk a little bit about the problem. The problem today is that the art market has thrived off of opacity. Think of auction houses and galleries. Those institutions have set enormous barriers to entry for artists, but also for art buyers. Now, I can create a whole presentation on how and why they do this, but we only have 5 minutes. So here's a really quick snapshot of a few of our key competitors, or just other institutions within the fine art space. 2 main players I want to point out is Artsy and Turning Art. So on the buy side, Artsy is our main competitor. We like to think of them a little bit like Expedia. Expedia is an online extension of hotels, the same way Artsy is an online extension of existing galleries. In this scenario, we're more of an Airbnb. It's much more personal. You get to interact with the artist directly, and we have a lot more options, Most importantly, we have total price transparency. On the rental side, there's Turning Art. I'm sure you guys probably haven't heard of it before because they're a B2B business, but they provide fine art for corporations. So here's a snapshot of what the art market looked like in 2017. You'll see that online sales is only 8.4% of the total sales last year, which is surprising because think of another industry or sector where today online is doing less than 10%, especially given that millennials and women are the fastest growing forces in art collecting. SwapUp is the solution to disrupt the market and capture this lost online market share. We connect the key players in the industry directly with one another. So who are they and what do we do specifically? So here's a little bit of the nuts and bolts. So let's start with the artists. It's totally free to join our platform. We don't curate your work. We give you free analytical toolkits so you have more control over your representation. For the buyers, it's an easy one-stop shop to browse through thousands of work, and I cannot emphasize this enough, clear price transparency. This is something that's lacking with all our other competitors, and it's actually our main value proposition. And then now you might be thinking, who are the renters, right? We have a B2B program. And so there's actually a lot of businesses that need art, but not indefinitely. Think of people in PR, marketing, interior design. We're talking with these businesses and connecting them with artists so they can have original artwork temporarily. So we operate by taking a commission of all transactions on our site. I know these percentages look incredibly high. That's usually what jumps out first, but unfortunately, they're a lot lower than industry standards. And happy to go into that later as well. So what have we done so far? We are pre-launch, but already we've recruited over 50 artists in the New York City area alone on our website's waitlist. These are artists who work on art full-time and they're really excited to start using our product. Something I want to mention is a traditional gallery would not be able to represent this many people. So already we're demonstrating how quickly we could potentially scale by being an online business. We're actually also started our offline pilot program. Before we dive in and invest in building our platform, which is very expensive, we're actually running an offline pilot program for our B2B rental business. So we're already connecting artists and businesses to have a few transactions under our belt because we believe that our B2B business will be our most steady stream of revenue.
So next, I will introduce how we use the media and our toolkit to do our marketing. So first, we will launch our program on the Instagram, which has the highest number of artists. We'll create our own hashtag, which is SwapUpNYC and SwapUpWork, to label artists to connect to our brand and program. Also, we will use the function of geotagging to let them show the audience where their work are currently showing and where they want to show their work. And also, since we are coming from the art and business school in New York City, we already have a potential group of people surrounding us. So we will use the Facebook as a platform to send private message to them saying, hey, check out our SwapUp company to check out the work of your classmates on SwapUp to let them recommend to their friends. In that way, we will have a good word-to-mouth marketing. As it expands, it will reach out to more talents for us. On top of that, we think content. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's a little rushed, but before I go, I just want to say I want to thank the artists. So all the artwork you saw in our presentation are from people who've already signed up. So thank you so much. Thanks. Ask away.
How are you planning to, by the way, that was a very nice presentation.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How are you planning to fulfill on the order? Let's say I go to buy something. Are you sending it or is the artist sending it?
So the artist is sending it. We don't plan on holding any inventory. We just connect the two, really. And we're a platform for the transaction to happen.
How do you plan to guarantee that it got delivered?
That's a good question. We think about that all the time, and it's honestly going to have to be a rating system. We are learning from a lot of other online platforms like Etsy. Etsy doesn't hold the inventory, but they still get fulfilled. And so we're studying from people like that to hopefully ensure that orders do get fulfilled.
And I think related to that too is, art is oftentimes extremely fragile.
Right,
I can
of
understand how the artist could, I think the artist would have to, a lot of artists that I happen to know are extremely cautious about where their art is, and
Right.
and so I'm assuming that they're going to have some say. They're going to allow their art to be at a place, right? They could say that I want my art there or not.
Yeah.
And then how do you protect the artist's work and make sure that
Insurance.
insurance?
Yeah, so the whole reason why we're doing our pilot program is actually because we're testing insurance partners right now. So that's a huge part of our business. I feel like half of our business is just working with insurance companies, really, because we do want to make sure that the work is protected, and if it is damaged, that the artist is compensated. And to answer your question a little bit more, it's a program you can opt in and out of. So like you as the artist, you can choose what pieces you're okay with renting out and which ones are not okay. Mm-hmm. And those would be only available for purchase.
Thanks.
So do you think, there seems to be, what's cool about this idea, and this is a really, really cool idea, because knowing a bit about the art world and how it works, which I know you had to glance over, it is a very strange and impenetrable world, and so I think
Right.
you have some real opportunity here. There's a B2B opportunity, restaurants, hotels, office
Yes, of
buildings,
course.
but there's a B2C opportunity as well, which
Right.
is part of your plan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How do you plan on building up those audiences? Because they're sort of, I think the B2B side I think is a little further along, as places rent artwork or buy artwork all the time. But on the B2C side of it, it seems like there's some unique opportunities and challenges to build up that audience. Have you thought through that?
Yeah, so of course, B2B side, it's a little bit easier because businesses do respond a little faster. And you're right, we are trying to figure out who the B2C customer really is. I will say this, though. We've talked to a lot of artists, and we realize that there's so much potential for cross-promotion. So the reason why we started this was because there's a huge pain point for artists. A lot of the times when they sell their work, they don't have like a transaction. Well, they do have a transaction, but it'll be like a Venmo. They want like solid proof that this work sold for this amount. That's if they're not represented by a gallery, which is unfortunately most artists. So we believe that there'll be a lot of cross-promotion. Like artists will encourage buyers to purchase off our site versus not online, if that makes sense. But yeah.
And also, and who sets the price? The artist?
The artist sets the price.
Yeah, and also as we haven't introduced in the next slides, we're gonna hosting several offline events like Swap Sharing, which is our official networking event to let artists to share their work on the stage, then get share where their inspiration come from. And we have couple of the artistic event like the sketch night or drink and draw to let them know each other in person offline.
Yeah.
And I think these events, and also we have a social media plan which doesn't cost that much. So I think as long as we have our media toolkit and the offline networking things, I think it will promote it at a low cost and will engage our audience in a bigger scope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll just to save it. Okay, now it's time for team number 2, which is Font Playground, from representing the Parsons School of Design and Yale University.
Hi everyone, I'm Hua. I'm from Font Playground. We're gonna start with the video first. So, sorry, this is it? Okay, can you just play the video? Hi, I am the creator of Font Playground, a design tool that allows you to create designs using variable fonts. Variable fonts is a new type of font that can reshape itself to your liking. Why is it better than traditional fonts? Most traditional fonts only have a few fixed weights like regular and bold. Variable fonts let you have those fixed weights as well as other weights in between. And weight is just one of the many parameters you can reconfigure. Variable font empowers your design to be more detailed and expressive. With Font Playground, the power of variable font is fully unleashed. Stretching text in most design apps destroys the letter form's proportions, resulting in bad design. Look at how horizontal strokes become thicker than the vertical ones. In Font Playground, the text is reshaped dynamically to fit the text frame without destroying the proportion. You can control more parameters of variable fonts intuitively, such as slant. What you're looking at is not full italic. It was carefully drawn by type designers. Optical size. Pay attention to how the type is redrawn to render much more legible at smaller sizes and much more elegant at bigger sizes. X height. This kind of intuitive on-canvas control was never possible before Font Playground. You can change the two parameters simultaneously. This helps you explore the true potential of variable fonts that have multiple parameters. When you're done, take your designs anywhere by exporting HTML and CSS code directly to CodePen, or just copy and paste. In the future, more features are coming to Font Playground, such as animation. Stay tuned for more.
So hi again, I'm Hua. I'm here to talk to you about something really nerdy called fonts. Okay, so what you just saw is actually the current state of our app Font Playground, and now I'm just gonna walk you through its concept. Next slide. Do I click or? Oh, I click. Here are just some updates on the state of current font technology. So what you saw in the video was variable font, which is a parametric technology. But then there's also color fonts, open type fonts, and stuff that's happening in VR, AR, which is more emerging technology. And unfortunately, none of these technologies are available in the current design tool that we use as designers. When you see something in InDesign or something in Sketch, what you have is something just super basic. So our mission as Font Playground is to update your text tool in your design app and give you access to these cutting-edge font technology. So who are our competitors? Our competitors are companies like Sketch, Framer, and Immersion, as well as companies like Adobe. But these are also our clients, because what we want to do is we want to create API and UX and UI where we can incorporate into the systems that these companies already implement. So what this means, so what I just presented is that these companies are not creating cutting-edge type tools, and we think it's because there is a lack of expertise and resource. Text feature is usually the fundamental feature that they pack into their design app, but they lack the expertise and resource in updating the text app. Mostly because font is a very specialized field, and it's very hard to come across talent that is both able to design and develop within this realm. However, we have the talent and the skill set, and we are prepared to meet this giant white space in the design software market. So this is our budget, and what we propose is, in addition to hiring our founders, which is myself and my partner Wen-Ting, we're proposing to hire one additional engineer who will help us design and develop into a full-fledged API for variable font. And as well for marketing, we propose meetup and workshops, as well as partnership with design typography events. But then a really important part is creating free consumer-facing demos where we can educate designers about the importance of font technology. And that's it. You can play with our demo at play.typedetail.com, and please get in touch.
Great presentation. The one question is, how do you plan to make money from this? Is it licensing, or is there a fee? How does that work?
Yes, there are two parts. One part is free, which is the demo that would also serve as a marketing entry point. And then the part where there is an API, we plan to basically the company will get license for the API to incorporate the type tool in this API into their current design system. Like Adobe would buy an API for us for variable font to incorporate it into InDesign or After Effects or something.
This is super cool. Amazing work that you guys have done. Obviously there's, not knowing anything about how this stuff is made and designed, or how you created this, it also feels like it's something that's like an Adobe could easily just steal this idea.
Mm-hmm.
How do you protect yourself from that?
The thing with variable, it's like variable font is already part of Adobe, but the thing with these companies is that they're usually focusing on something that's called a differentiator feature, and for Adobe, that's actually a lot of features. They were focused on like, animation and all that other stuff. Nobody is putting a lot of time and effort into the text tool themselves, which is like a fundamental feature. And as I have said, it's very hard to get someone who has a lot of in-depth knowledge about type and typography, as well as develop knowledge that goes into font engineering. So it's a very specific field, and for them to develop something like that, usually they will look for like a smaller company, and hopefully that's us who's able to come in and fill in that white space.
Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, great work.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go to team number 3, which is Oversee, and they are from right here, the home team, Pace University, 3 members.
So, hi everybody, I'm Janina Riley. My name is Evelyn Sakati.
And I'm Sara Pereira, and we're the creators of Oversee.
Oversee is an immersive app that focuses on empowering college students through networking, accessibility, and connections.
As college students, we value accessibility, networking, efficiency, and also networking. So, our values and goals are accessibility, networking, and efficiency. With this, we want to promote traveling among young students so that they don't have to worry about the interferences that this brings.
The need factor for Oversee came into question with the beginning of our research process. We interviewed over 50 college students and asked the following questions. First with, are you interested in traveling? And as you can see, 94.5 students answered yes. We then asked them would they be willing to travel with a group of people or on their own. And 62.1 said they didn't mind, while 32.8 said they'd rather travel with a group of people. We then asked, why don't students travel? And 69.1 said they cannot afford it, while 14.5 said they had school, and 10.9 said they didn't know where to begin when planning a trip. We continued our research through a comparison of what our app would offer and what's offered at the Study Abroad information sessions by Pace University. We found that the fatal flaw was that Pace did not give students a full-figure cost before they planned to participate. Therefore, students who did not travel often were hit with fees that non-travelers would not know about, such as those for a student visa and a passport. Overseas would battle this by walking students through the process before they plan to commit.
So, what is included in Overseas?
Can you play the video? Are you able to play the video?
Thank
Okay.
you. Okay.
Well, in that case, Overseas would begin by allowing students to create a profile. Now, that profile would include information about your name, what school you attend, your major, your interest, and the country that you plan to go to. It would then take you to the tab about the country where you can input what country you would like to go to, and it would provide you information about that country, such as civic opportunities and social norms in that country that you would not know about if you did not do that research on your own. The app would then allow you to input your expected budget, when you would want to go on this trip, and then allow you to connect with other internship opportunities that we would hopefully have partnered with through the app. By the end, you would have your resume uploaded, all of the information about your school, your wants, and your needs, and then the app would allow you to create a kind of like an itinerary for what you would want to do when you're over there, how you would get there through the, how you would get there per the information about flights and traveling. And then by the end, there's also a button that's called Let's Oversee, which puts everything into one itinerary. I apologize, we had the video and it kind of slowed us down, but we're going to keep going. Yes.
So next comes our SWOT analysis. We're going to begin with overseas strengths. We promote financial literacy, student-to-student networking, and we also give reassurance when it comes to embarking on this process. We also want to provide civic opportunities and social expectations of the countries they chose to go to. A weakness will be how we plan to organize the app and ensuring that each profile is specific to each user, both of which will be battled in the development of the app. Some external opportunities will be expanding our networking base with universities and community relations because Overseas wants to assume a national profile. An external threat would be that there are other apps such as Travelocity and Student Universe that offer similar accommodations.
Oversee utilizes a business-to-consumer concept. Therefore, we are tailored towards educated middle-class 18 through 27-year-olds that value positive, stimulating environments and other cultures and cultural awareness. Overseas provides functional satisfaction rather than psychological satisfaction because we'd hope that our users would get a professional gain by going to the other country and networking with other students. This led us to analyze the 4 P's of marketing, which are product, price, placement, and promotion, all of which leads us to analyze the needs and wants of our users. Students need help planning, budgeting, organizing, and directing, and they want to have a fulfilling experience in another country. According to the product sales and customer orientation, consumers favor products that offer the most quality, features, and performance, and we hope that Oversee would do just that.
Finally, the expected value of an app such as Oversee will be as follows. For the discovery, pre-research, and design, it will be less than $5,000. And for the testing and development, it will be in between $5,000 and $10,000.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One question. Oh, first, a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Especially, you guys showed what a really key skill, which is flexibility. You know, given that they had technical problems, and you're still able to pull it off. So that was fabulous. The big question I have is that in your research, you said 70% of the students said that cost was the biggest obstacle to traveling. So how does Oversee help me with that number one obstacle?
A lot of times the cost is it's such a deterrent for students because they feel as though there's not enough time to get the money that's needed to travel. For me, for example, I'm planning on studying abroad next semester, and because everything was really delayed, I'm kind of in a rush to get everything together, whereas because I wasn't provided with the information about everything that I would need to pay for. Because Oversee is kind of like a buddy app for students, it would allow them to input how much they're expected how much they want to spend in that time frame that would be needed to get that amount of money, so they wouldn't be so rushed for cash in the end.
To second what Michael said, I mean, great great comeback. This happens all the time in presentations, and you guys just rolled with it really well. So congrats on that. So I imagine, I mean, I think it's a great idea, but considering the amount of schools and the amount of opportunities there are around the world, and internships and companies and all these other things, I mean, how do the schools and the companies? Are you expecting the schools and companies to input their information onto your app? Is that how how the students find this stuff?
Yes. We'd hope to work with the schools and companies, because it is hard for like one person to kind of work with each individual student. So that's why you kind of input your information. So that's extremely like one-on-one personal.
Congratulations again on the recovery. Very
Thank you.
awesomely done. Question across your team right there. Who is going to be working on what in your ideal scenario as you launch this business?
I'd be working on marketing and seeing what students need from us by asking questionnaires such as the ones we did before, asking what do you really need and what are you lacking in your experience with your school's study abroad research program or anything like that. So I'd figure out what is the actual problem and come up with a solution on how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I will be working with that too, and the public relationship to just know what are the needs of the users, because that's really important. And that's why we specify that one thing that we provide is so that the students know what are the social expectations they're gonna face when they go to that country, because that's something really important to know. When it comes to studying abroad, you have to know what's happening in that country you're interested in.
And I would hope to be working on discovery and pre-research. I can look up a lot of stuff about the other universities, how much these things would cost, and work with whoever would be on our research team to get all of the information about the other countries and developing the app in general.
Great. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, the next group representing Syracuse University, they're named Team Comic Stands. And as a baby boomer, I had no idea what the word stands means. I had to actually look it up, but I guess it means a stalker fan. So, Comic Stands.
Hello, can you guys hear me? I'll go on the other side. Okay. Okay. So, my name is Saray Thompson.
I'm Sajida Ayub.
And together we are graduate students from Syracuse University studying journalism. Together we are Team Comic Stands, and to you, the judges and the audience, welcome to the world of Comic Stands. Today, Sacha and I will present the pitch on behalf of our team. We brought notes so we can stay on time. This is our baby, so bear with us. Okay, can we start we have a video to keep us on time. Yeah. Okay, so from 1920 to 2018, several comic book magazines have either faded or failed to sustain. Furthermore, the platforms that do exist don't cater to the younger generation, which is half of the reader population. But have no fear, Comic Stands is here. If you stand for something, it means that you truly love content. For example, I stan Beyonce, and I stan Spider-Man. Hence the word Comic Stands. And Comic Stands is also a play on word for Comic Sans, a typeface for comic books. Okay, so Comic Stands is the new savior of the 29 and younger enthusiast. Our mission is designed to bring nostalgia for those in their late 20s and open a new world of curiosity and passion to the nascent. Okay, we conducted research and found a survey by ICV2 that the major comic population is 63% male, 61% Caucasian, with interest in cartoon, film, and television. In the next slide, our current competitors are Internal Correspondence V2 and the Comics Journal, because they have a website with current industry news. They also print biannually and have apps. However, they are unresponsive with horrible reviews, and they suggest to revamp the platform. So New York City Comic Con revealed this report that 43% of comic readers are between 30 to 54 years old, and they're marginally close to our target audience, so we also plan to appeal to them. They won't get left out through nostalgia. 41.5% are Marvel fans, and 32.6% are independent. So for editorial, we split our content into 5 categories, which is industry news, entertainment, fashion, business, and technology. Industry news focuses on updated news on the latest comics. Since our audience never dies, we'll always have content to curate. For example, there's always a Deadpool spinoff. Fashion will focus on the latest merch and give room for advertisers, and business and technology will involve news about the publishers and gear for gamers. Okay, so content-wise, there are 6 verticals that will be embedded within the category mentioned before. So we have latest comics, featured, culture and entertainment, trending, events, tech, and gaming.
Coming to the design of our brand, we studied a bunch of Marvel and DC comics and to figure out the color palette that we should be selecting, and this is what we came up with. We chose these typefaces because they represent boldness and youth, and that's what our brand is all about. This is our working logo, and these are the possible brand title colors. This is how our app will look like in the future, and once we have a full-fledged tech team, it's going to look more appealing and it will be user-friendly. Like Saray already discussed, our content is completely spoiler-free. Our writers will do storyline analysis, new character introduction, give DIY tips on how to use latest gaming gear and where to find them. So majority of the business and technology articles will be native advertising. So it's a win-win for both the parties. Our social media will be a major traffic source. We'll be using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest to begin with. Apart from online engagement, we plan to host events featuring guests and competitions. This will be another traffic booster for advertisers. Our advertisers will rise from publishers, conventions, and communities. With over 100 conventions over the entire country, we expect that we'll always have something to cover. This is our first year projection, and we'll have 228,000 in profit. The reason the costs are so high is because our tech team has to be highly capable of producing an app which is like user-friendly and has a great UI UX platform, and for that we need a really good tech team. We calculated this cost by including salaries, printing cost, office space in LA, and other supplies. Our revenue will be generated from ads in both print and online, and also the app. So different sized ads will have different prices, and so the possibilities are endless. Our ultimate goal is to bring the world of comics, address looming issues like whitewashing, diversity, disabilities, and sexism amongst the global community of comic book readers to make them intellectual and abreast with social issues and beyond.
Thank you.
Great. It was a great touch to have the built-in timer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep our time. I have a question about the format that this will be. This will be a print, or will it be, is it a magazine, a printed magazine?
So the majority will be app, but we have six print issues coming out yearly. So it will be like 6 print issues, like a collectible, but an app running every day.
Oh, okay. So it's an app or a digital site, and so because you had the advertising revenue or the advertising sheet up there, and it looked like you were talking about full-page ads, quarter-page ads, and things.
That's for the print magazine that will come out 6 times a year.
And then you would sell a lot of other digital advertising on the app itself.
On the app itself.
Okay.
We'll also have a website also for daily news, and so the app and the website will run daily, and the print issue will be like 6 times a year.
It was a great presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Question on the revenue and the projections. You guys did a lot of research on that. I think you dropped a digit on all of the slides. So if you want to talk about, if you want to actually go back to it, the numbers are all quite off. So you just flip back to your revenue and forecasts? Or it doesn't, oh, it's in a video? So your middle, what would be thousands, is only 2 digits. So it's hard to tell if you're talking about tens of millions, millions. Something's off on your numbers on the big overview.
Okay.
So if you look at like year 1 projections, do you guys know off the top of your head what you're talking about as far as revenue versus cost?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Year 1, what are you projecting on revenue versus costs?
It's actually on the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, it's an Indian thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All clear. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess some on-the-fly feedback. I mean, to Mike's point, the video thing was a great way of timing, but when you're actually giving presentations, the reason why we tend to rely on slides is often you have to go back during the question and answer period to go focus on something. So just keep that in mind. But so this, I mean, a great idea, and you're right, it's an evergreen. There's always going to be fans, in this space, but it's a crowded space. It's a volatile space, and so how do you see yourself breaking away from a very competitive space?
So our competition is mostly ICV2 and the Comics Journal, and they are mostly they gear towards industry news, and most of them, so the other magazines as well, they don't talk about social issues like whitewashing and diversity. And ours, and a news magazine should not have any biased opinions, but we want to address those issues in our magazine and talk about why we need to talk about these things as a society, and make people understand that these are actual real world issues and not just in comics.
And also, okay. And also, a lot of these, our competitors are not very active when you go to various Comic Cons and stuff like that. They're not very interactive, I find. They're just a handout flyer here and there. Versus us, we plan on being interactive and engaging with our audience,
So
attending
really,
ourselves.
the diversity angle, which is super cool and super right on, and timely, is there. But you also have things like IGN. You have numerous channels on YouTube who are covering the fan space. You have Nerdist. I mean, there's really a lot of space out there. It sounds like but are you differentiating yourself because you guys have a magazine too? You have online and magazine, and is that sort of the differentiator as well?
Right. We still want to have the tangible, because there are audiences that like comic books and like to see that. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. Okay, coming up next is our 5th team, and they're from Frostburg State University. Yeah. Yeah, they brought a fan section with them. And this idea is called Swap Ed. And they are coming to the stage.
Hi, everyone. I want you to imagine that I am the personification of university bookstores. And you can tell because I love money most of all. And what do I do best? I overcharge on books. Now, you're all young and full of life. Wouldn't you like to give me the rest of your savings to buy books you're only going to use for one semester? No! What do you mean, no? You can't say no. I'm going to show you a video of one of my most satisfied customers, and maybe that'll sway you. Doesn't she look full of life and ready to learn? And this is my favorite part with the card and the machine, Oh, wait, what happened? All of that money was supposed to go into my wallet.
Well, you see, that day, I didn't buy those books because I found out about Swap Ed.
What's Swap Ed?
Yaha! I am Swap Ed.
Yeah, that didn't answer my question, though.
Okay, well, first of all, Swap Ed, which is me, is a. Can we have the. You have a clicker? Okay.
Next slide.
Next slide, yep. Next slide. Okay, so SwapEd, which is me, is an app made by college students for college students. This app basically helps you swap out your textbooks so you don't have to pay so much money buying textbooks anymore. This app also allows you to communicate with other students, alumni, and your professors so you get ideas of what you need to know about in your future college classes and your current classes.
Okay, but how do you even know that there's a problem with my way of doing things?
Well, first of all, in Maryland, there is a Textbooks Affordability Act. But textbooks are still really expensive. We're still paying too much for textbooks. Exhibit A. So with this app, students don't have to worry about spending too much money at a bookstore, and we take students' values very seriously.
Well, how do you plan on competing against big companies like Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, or even, yours truly?
Because big competition, like Amazon, Nook, and Chegg, when you go on their website, all you see is a price and the username. There is no personal connection. We plan on beating that in the top tier over here. When I try and get the personal connection when I go to my bookstore, it's like talking to Medusa. I'm all at standstill, and they won't even take my books from me. So we're trying to hit the top tier of student connections and high transferable rates, so it's easy for kids to change and transfer books and to have high connections with other students on campus.
But who are you even targeting? Who's going to buy from you?
We're going to be targeting students with a degree of high campus involvement and high price sensitivity, who will really care about the ethics behind what we represent, and we'll be also targeting specifically the Maryland region of colleges, and then hopefully, it's a global problem. Everybody has problems with textbook prices, so hopefully we reach out to the whole globe at some point.
Okay, but how are you going to get the word out about this app of yours?
Well, we all have one of these, right? We all love them. Obviously, we're going to do traditional promotion, doing on-campus flyers, and then getting college students and professors as campus ambassadors to help get the word out about SwapEd, as well as doing social media marketing. And we're going to get some Snapchat filters out on college campuses to get the word out more, as well as we're going to do an event on campuses where students get to create their own book cover, and then when they pass that book down, they get to see the history and the personality that went in to who had the book before them.
Okay, but the price of developing such an app would be way over like $1 million even. That's too expensive.
Of course not. Look at our budget. It's a little over $200,000. Within the first year, if we reach at least a little over 10%, we plan to break even. After the first 2 months, it is free to download the app. And then after that, it's just a fee of 99 cents because we know college students are on a budget. You have other expenses to worry about, like tuition. So we just put this staple of 99 cents on SwapEd to remind students how beneficial this app can be for their college experience.
Well, with those numbers, 10% for you, 90% for me, I still like those.
Not for long. See it?
Save it.
Swap it.
Swap it.
Swap it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, keep the microphone.
Okay. Great presentation. I feel like I'm at a Groundlings or UCB comedy show. So you guys have a second life as well. The question I have is about how does it work though? Let's say I'm a student and I'm taking Marketing 150 next semester. So do I go on the app and find somebody who has a book for Marketing 150? But then I buy the book from them, or do I give? I have a book that I swap and I give them. How likely are they to be in a class that I'm going to be? How there's going to be overlap? That's what I don't understand.
This is like student to student buying and selling. So we're saying swap, but it's more like trade. But we still want them to exchange their books to each other. But we're mostly just selling from student to student for other classes because students will give them a fair price, and it'll be easier for them to find things that they need without having to go to a bookstore and spend over $400 for a math textbook.
So you're like a Craigslist, where I'm going to be able to see other students who are selling the books that I'm going to need, or like an eBay, and then obviously my books are listed so other students can buy from me.
Yeah, it'll be campus-based, so you can have the app will be. You'll select which campus you're at, so you'll have local students around you, and then you could select your class, and even if you're in clubs or organizations, there'll be a whole nother thing where it's going to be more of a social platform too, where you can interact with students, say, hey, can I have this book for Marketing 150, but how was that class? What teacher should I take for that, or stuff like that.
Just about quality control in the books. How do you get the book that's clean versus the one that's highlighted, notes in the margins, pages ripped out?
When students first put up their books for sale, there will be a part in the application where they have to put how much damage there is. If it's mint, they need to put that down. If it's slightly used and highlighted, they can also add that so that
And they
students
set
know.
their pricing, or you guys do?
For pricing? I think that we should have a kind of base price for each kind of condition point, and then basically just use that. So if it's mint and they want to sell it for $70, then mint $70. And then if it's terrible and it's all ripped up, then it could only be like $20.
I don't know if you guys did this in any of the research, and maybe it's not even an issue, but I'm just curious. I mean, I have to wonder, this is such a syndicate, right? It's sort of like a crime syndicate, actually, from university to university. I mean, I have to imagine that the publishers are in on this whole thing, too, that they want to make as much money as humanly possible on this. The booksellers do, too. Do you feel like are they protecting themselves in some way? I know there's always the issue of a new edition or something like that. Or do you really think that you guys have stumbled on something that could really, truly disrupt the whole thing?
Our app, it's not so much about the money for us. So,
Mainly here to help students just get the book that they need at a lower price. And instead of talking to a bookstore clerk, you just get it student to student.
So in theory, what you're really disrupting is the bookstore. The publisher could, in theory, become a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Because the professor may say, I want version 20 this time, and you're going to have to buy it. So,
yeah, we would even be willing. We discussed about like selling it to Amazon if it ever got big enough, where Amazon can work with us in a way to kind of just get us out and more accessible to other students rather than just where we are.
Yeah, quite beyond like online book shopping. It's more than this is shopping, as we were saying. It's all about student interaction, reaching more out and seeing, what kids are in the same major, because you may not know how they could help. So reaching out and touch base with that.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
That was
Thanks, everybody.
Swap Ed.
Here, put your microphones on. Wait, Katie, that's the wrong one. That one goes over there.
Okay, coming up next is going to be from NYU. You can go ahead and share, NYU fans. and this team name or project name is Middle Ground App.
Ever happened to you? Your friends in the boroughs want to hang out, but you simply can't navigate this crazy city to find a good spot to meet. Ever felt worried about giving your address to meet someone for the first time? DateSpot is a convoluted and confusing research project. Just too much to handle. You wish your phone could just fix all of your problems in one swoop. Well, now it can. Using technology, Middle Ground will help you find the perfect place to hang out, right in the middle between you and your friends. It will give you the middle point between you and your new dating app sweetheart, all while keeping both your locations anonymous. It will help you pick a fun place or event to go to near that middle spot. No more crazy research projects. All of this is included within the Middle Ground app, inside your portable smart telephone device.
Whoa! Having some trouble, friend? Looks like you could use some help from the Middle Ground app. The app for meeting up.
Download Middle Ground. Upgrade your social life.
The PowerPoint. Thanks.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so this is the Middle Ground app. How does this work? There we go. The primary functions of Middle Ground are to connect two people, finding the middle point between them, finding fun things to do near that middle point, finding a safe way for people to meet for the first time. My name is Jessica Fisher. I go to NYU studying musical theater.
Hi, my name is Ivor Atkins. I am a senior in the Accelerated Master's Program at NYU for Music Technology. I speak several programming languages, and I would be the main developer for the Middle Ground app. So, why come up with this app? As we all know, the MTA is not necessarily the most reliable service here in the state, and it can be very difficult to get around and find a good place to meet up. So how do we usually find a place to meet with our friends? You open your app, your maps, and then you scroll into about the location that you both want to go to. Then you start randomly clicking on different spots. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe it's closed. And then you got to check out all the Yelp reviews, see if this is a good place. So why is this bad? Well, it's completely inefficient. You spend a lot of time just wasted looking at places that may not even exist anymore or be open, and you miss a lot of new spots that may not show up at this point. So in the Middle Ground app, you're able to create an account. And in this account, you can set locations and have different preferences as to where you typically like to meet up. The app is going to be completely anonymous, so while your location will be safe from the other party, you'll still be able to see an ETA from the other one, so you're not wondering where they are in case trains get delayed. Anonymity is definitely important, whether it's a first date or it's a student-teacher relationship.
We all know that online dating isn't the safest, especially as a woman, but really for everyone. There are many, many articles of how not to get killed by your Tinder date. So if there's a way to meet up for the first time without giving your other date your address, it can make the experience a lot safer. Still not the safest, but safer than before. So you can have a lot of fun and get to what you really want to do. Isn't that sweet? So our app works in 3 steps. First, it finds your current location and the other party's current location. You can choose whether or not it's anonymous. And then you choose the mode of transportation. Maybe the middle point for the subway is different from the middle point from walking. Then it finds that middle spot. Then it gives you categories of what to do near that middle location. Our categories are as follows: eating, outside, arts and entertainment, events nearby, and road trip. The road trip feature is beneficial for when you're traveling a long distance and you want a middle spot before your endpoint, or if you're states apart and you want to find a middle spot. So maybe you want to find the nearest city between you and your aunt in Iowa. It can do that for you. There are many possible partnerships with this app, including dating apps, networking apps, places to go, or OfferUp is a local buying and selling app so you can meet up instead of going to somebody's house, or Care.com for tutoring. Our proposed budget is somewhere around $5,000, split in half between subway ads and social media to start out with. Ivor does coding himself, so he would be the coder for that. Thank you.
Really good presentation, very clear, and it sounds like a good idea. Did you guys do any informal research? Because just off the top of my head, it seems that often when people get together, the first thing you figure out is what you want to do first, and then you figure out the location. So it's like, hey, let's get together. Jess, let's get together for lunch. Then we find a place. Usually, it's not the other. Well, maybe it's not the other way around. It's place and then the activity. But how did you come up with that thinking in terms of your research?
So you and whoever you were wanting to meet up with, because you'll have your own account, you can search the other person's username, and then from that, it'll find the middle point between you two. That's when the categories are going to pop up. So once you have the main category of outside, dining, concert events, which will also change depending on time of day, then you can go into subcategories and narrow down what you're really wanting to look for. So when it's dining, you might want a cafe or a nice sit-down restaurant.
It's a great presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I had a question about the middle ground. So in a world of dating and privacy, and I totally get that, and I think it's a huge value proposition and super important. In a business networking world, can you adjust the middle ground so that, like, I have a ton of time and Michael has no time, so we meet closer to him versus, you know, I'm running to a meeting and I'm totally out of town and someone comes to me. Like, can you adjust the meeting point with the same efficiency and all the other qualities that you're bringing to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll default to just the middle point to be the fastest for both parties, but after that, you can still choose to move the location around.
Great.
Did you, I like the partnership angle, and I thought it was really smart. Did you do some research on other kind of competitors out there or people who are covering this space?
Yeah, we found 2 different competitors that just show the middle point, but one, they have no type of anonymous setting, so that's, you know, not always ideal. And then on top of that, it's really just a location thing. They don't really go into all the other things you can do. They don't have categories or subcategories, especially times a day and price points. So far, the only competition that we've come across is really the act of finding the middle spot.
Well, thank you guys very much, and that concludes our
Thank you.
Our competition. And all right, we're ready. We're ready to announce the winners of the competition, and you guys are all Gen Zs or whatever, so that they always see. I know with my kids they say this. Everyone's a winner. No, we have actually a rating, and we're going to go from the 4th runner-up all the way to the winner, and we're also going to have the audience favorite. Starting with the audience favorite. The audience favorite is Swap Ed. Yeah, come on up and get your prize. Oh, yeah. First, we'll say that all the presentations, I think, were really fantastic. I mean, I think you guys dealt so well with with some of the technical issues, a lot of the questions. You guys were quick on your feet. We judged it based on a variety of factors, including the quality of the presentation, the quality and creativity of the idea, the viability of the idea, and also the scope and the scale potential of the idea were also factors. So Swap Ed gets the audience favorite and stay on the stage because the 4th runner-up is also Swap Ed. Okay. Thank you. And the 3rd runner-up is, let's see, we will meet in the middle of the stage, which is middle ground. Oh, yeah, we forgot to say that there's money here, yeah. Those guys just got $150, and then this is a $500 prize. Congratulations. And our 2nd runner-up. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, 2nd place. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking beauty contest. 2nd place is Swap Up. $1,000. Oh, a $1,000. Yeah, a $1,000 prize. And now for the 1st place winner, which is a $2,000 prize. And this goes to the team from the Parsons School of Design and Yale University, Font Playground.
So everyone who won a prize, I need you to send me an email, dolly@onedayimmersion.com. Give me your information, and you'll get a check via FedEx in a week, okay?
Thank you.
So, Michael and jury members, Craig and Rebecca, thank you so much for, that was a really fun competition. And again, congratulations everyone who participated, all of the teams that sent a submission. Thank you very much. So we're at the end of the day for the theater. However, if you guys want to stick around, I have some snacks for you in Bianco. We're going to try to gather as many executives as we can to keep the conversation going, so you have additional opportunity to ask some questions, maybe exchange a business card, get an email like Judith was saying. So thank you for coming. It's wonderful to have you again, and look for us next year, okay? Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Dean Braun.